Unless I'm mistaken. Oh, wait, hold on. I don't want to say this without knowing it for sure. So allow me to look at the Wikipedias.
Okay. Is that the sound of looking at Wikipedia?
It's the sound of, yeah. I'm Tom Dickinson.
And I'm Louis Midas.
And this is the Cloister Room,
a podcast about Doctor Who and other things.
Let's start by talking about the Daleks as a story, and then talk about Doctor Who and the Daleks in relation to it.
Okay.
This was your first time watching the Daleks, was it not?
Yes, it was.
I see. I think I'd seen it at least once before. Twice, maybe.
Huh.
What'd you think, Louis?
I liked how it started, and
I see.
And I thought it was interesting, and then towards the end, it kind of dragged on and on.
Yeah, it did. I think episode 6 was just the most boring part. That's mostly just them walking through the caves.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand why they just spent so much time focusing on those uninteresting caves. They could have thrown in some giant clams.
Yeah, I know, and no petrified giant clams in the forest either.
Scarrow was just devoid of giant clams this go-round.
Yeah, real letdown. But, you know, in those caves, they could have perhaps encountered one perilous situation to demonstrate that it was fraught with peril, and then moved on with the story.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Mm-hmm. Anyhow.
So, I mean, I do like most of the things that, you know, happened in the story. It was the stuff where nothing was happening that kind of got to me.
Yeah, and there's a lot of the stereotype about classic Doctor Who that it involves a lot of characters getting imprisoned, escaping, separating, and then getting imprisoned in different combinations, and perhaps by different people. And, I mean, I think there's a lot of this going on in the Daleks.
Yeah, but it was interesting. It was interesting just seeing it, because this is obviously the first encounter with the Daleks, but it was not the first I'd seen of the Daleks, obviously.
Clearly.
Yeah, believe it or not. But it's just weird to see it from that perspective where, it was really weird seeing the Doctor be unfamiliar with the Daleks. Mm. And I mean, obviously that had to happen at some point, but it was just weird seeing it. And also, the Daleks seemed a lot different from normal, I guess I'll say. I mean, they were powered by the floor. Like, what's up with that?
Well, as you may be aware, the original idea of Doctor Who was that it would be in some way educational.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some sort of discussion of static electricity in there. And I feel like when they were making these stories, they had no idea that the Daleks would ever appear again.
Well, that's true.
They had no idea that they would capture people's interest in the way that they did. So I feel like in subsequent appearances, the fact that the Daleks had sort of become this major thing in the public eye sort of caused the writers and production team to develop them to be more of a major threat. To match the public perception of them. So here they're not really all that threatening. Their Dalek rays don't kill people.
That's true.
Unless, well, they're not automatically lethal, as you would see now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess there is that perspective, and I was just thinking of it from the perspective of, hey, I was constantly thinking of Genesis of the Daleks. I was thinking, hey, this doesn't quite line up with things. And I mean, I guess that was what I focused on, but I never really thought of it as this is the first time the Daleks have been introduced and nobody really knows how popular they're going to be. That's something I didn't really think about.
Yeah, and you should have.
Yeah.
So shame on you, Louis. In the next story the Daleks appeared in, which was the Dalek invasion of Earth, they made some attempt to justify their no longer needing static electricity. The Daleks all have this little dish on the back of their casing by which I suppose some kind of power is wirelessly beamed to them.
Aha.
But that dish has never appeared again. I don't know that. I don't remember whether it appeared after that in subsequent stories, but eventually they stopped bothering.
Well, I mean, I'm okay with that. But
yeah, me too. I mean, I like the Daleks as they are now, except in terms of I don't really like the Dalek design now, but...
I do.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Also, we didn't actually see what the Daleks looked like what the actual organic thingamawhatsit.
No, we got a glimpse of, like, something.
Right, like a hand or whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of thingy. Which is weird. I feel like, I don't know. It was kind of weird how the Doctor and Ian kind of just looked at it and was like, oh, huh. So that's what it looks like. And then they just kind of like toss them aside.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they didn't really care.
Yeah, I guess.
They were too busy setting up their Wookiee prisoner trick.
Yeah. Well, you got to remain focused when you're setting up your Wookiee prisoner trick.
Exactly. But yeah, I enjoyed the earlier part of the story a lot more. Than the later part. The part where they're getting into the city, sort of figuring out how they're going to escape, dealing with the problem of the radiation. And I think it all sort of goes south when we have to deal with comings and goings to and from the city just over and over again.
Yeah. It was kind of like, oh, we forgot what was it, the fluid link or something?
Yeah, the fluid link.
And it was like, oh, darn, we gotta go back to the city.
Oh, no. Yeah, I think overall, I mean, I do like the story, and I like the sort of the character stuff that's involved in the story. Mm-hmm. Like, at the very beginning, there's a very sort of adversarial relationship between Ian and the Doctor.
Yeah.
And that sort of does soften as this goes on. Mm-hmm. And to the point where in later stories, it's less that they're with the Doctor against their will, and more that they're just along for the ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I did like that. I liked... I kind of like the Doctor being like this tricky guy who's like, oh, like he really wants to explore the city, so he just kind of invents this reason to go into the city.
He's a bastard.
Yeah, he kind of is.
He's awful.
Yeah. But I kind of like that.
And he has no regard for the life of the Thal people.
Yeah.
He's just like, well, we need our thing back, so they're going to have to fight and die for us.
Yeah, that's fun.
It was really strange to see the Doctor on that side of that conversation, while the companion, in this case Ian, was on the other.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess it was kind of a nice thing to sort of reinforce how... I imagine it was nice to reinforce that the Doctor is an alien because he doesn't quite get why they should be sympathetic to other people and stuff like that. And that's kind of fun, I guess. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Yeah. The Doctor was a very different character back then.
Yeah.
I can't really imagine, like, David Tennant doing all this stuff. Although, oddly enough, I could imagine Matt Smith.
Yeah, actually.
Being weirdly aloof and petty and sort of like,
yeah,
things like that.
That might be interesting to see, actually.
Yeah, just have Matt Smith reenact an old William Hartnell story. That would be fun.
That would.
Not like as a main episode, but maybe like, they do charity specials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. We should write a letter to Matt Smith. Tell him to do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he reads letters.
Well,
old-fashioned.
Oh, I thought you were accusing him of being illiterate or something. He's not a man of letters.
No, I want to break out a fountain pen. I don't even own a fountain pen, but I would buy one to write a letter to Matt Smith.
I'm sure many people would. Some have. Another thing I really liked in this story, as I like in many William Hartnell stories, is the parts where people mess up their lines.
Oh yeah, that's always good.
Oh yeah. Like, anti-radiation gloves. I mean drugs. Drugs, not gloves. Yes.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I noticed that. Actually, with the gloves versus drugs thing, I like how they how everyone reacted as if he'd said the right thing, but then realized he hadn't said the right thing, and then kind of went along with that as well. That was fun.
It's very much like you'd expect actors to act on a stage.
That's true.
Which I think is true in a lot of especially really early episodes of Doctor Who, because at the time, in the 50s, televised drama was basically filmed and it was sent out live, and it was essentially performed like a play. So there's sort of a transition towards the newer way of doing things.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like in the Daleks, I was noting especially, there are a lot of conversations that take place in one single shot, whereas in a TV show nowadays, you'd shoot the actor, maybe only a couple lines would happen, you'd get reverse angles, you'd get a couple of different reads of the line, and then they'd use the one they like.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's very different. I feel like Dalek probably deserves more discussion, but in the interest of keeping things moving along and getting to the sort of showdown between Doctor versus Doctor Who. Or DR period Who. Yeah. So, Doctor Who and the Daleks.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I see no value in this.
Yeah. I mean, it was weird. I'm going to say that. It was weird how there were all these... You know what really bothered me?
What?
The TARDIS didn't make the
I think you mean TARDIS didn't make the...
Oh, that's right.
Not the
that's
TARDIS.
Right.
TARDIS.
like it's a person.
Exactly.
Hello, TARDIS.
Yeah.
Like it's Hal. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't like the TARDIS interior either.
It's very 70s.
Well, it's very, generic 70s, some guy's science lab.
Yeah, it kind of looked like someone's garage.
Yeah, this is a place where an old man tinkers with random things. I don't know.
Yeah, that wasn't all that interesting. But yeah,
there was no Doctor Who theme.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really important, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, the opening titles were all like, whoa.
Yeah, they were whoa.
But
it's like they took out the weirdness of it and made it into sort of a conventional 60s. We just described it as 70s, didn't we?
We did.
So I guess it was futuristic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyhow, it's a conventional 60s movie opening and with a conventional 60s movie cast.
Yeah. I noticed speaking of just sets and props and things like that, I noticed in one of the I guess it was when Susan was writing the letter, there were lava lamps. Did you notice that?
I did not notice that.
Yeah, they were sitting right there. I didn't get it. I guess they're just here lava lamps. That's alien. I'm sure the Daleks love lava lamps.
Yeah, everything just looks a lot more expensive, but not as good.
Yeah,
like the Dalek city, the interiors, they're all glittery and weird colors, and no, I'm not interested in that.
Yeah. And what was up with the Daleks' weapons being like smoke?
Well, I believe the reason for that is that the negative effect that is usually associated with the Daleks, apparently at the time they were not capable of doing that effect well on film as opposed to videotape.
Oh.
So they decided they were going to instead give them some kind of other weapon. And they wanted to do flamethrowers, but they thought that would be too scary, so they did the exact opposite and did fire extinguishers.
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah, that's what my limited wiki reading has led me to, anyway.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. I just don't think I like anything about this movie. I don't like the cast at all.
Yeah. It wasn't... yeah. None of it was... Yeah. Also, the Thals were really... What was up with that makeup?
Well, I don't know, but at least they weren't wearing life vests. Didn't the ones in the Hartnell version, they looked like they were wearing some sort of foam vest?
Yeah, it looked like they just jumped ship.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, what was up with that?
I don't know. But one of the things that I found really frustrating about Doctor Who and the Daleks is I was thinking, this story might be good as an 80-minute story instead of as however many minutes the original was.
Right.
But instead of fixing some of the pacing problems, they just compressed it all.
Right.
Like literally, the exact same things happen in the exact same order once they get to Skaro.
Right.
And I feel like they could have eliminated some of those pacing problems, but instead they just chose to completely redo the same stuff.
Yeah. That was actually very hard to sit through just because I had just gotten done watching the same story done a lot slower.
Yeah. I was assuming that I was assuming it would not be like that. I was assuming that the story would be not just compressed, but rewritten for a smaller format.
Because I just assumed that's because that's typically what you do with a movie. You know, things invariably get changed, but not here.
They didn't change anything. I mean, except for like who the characters were.
Right.
It's the exact same things being done by different people.
Yeah. It was basically the exact same story, just made a little bit more generic so that it would appeal to a wider audience.
I guess that's probably the reason they did it, too.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I think this was 1965, so this was about 2 years after Doctor Who started. At the time, people were really interested in Doctor Who, but they were really, really, really interested in the Daleks.
Aha.
And so the Daleks are more the reason for this movie to exist.
Interesting. It just occurred to me that there was absolutely no explanation why TARDIS was a police box.
You're right. None whatsoever.
Which is kind of funny. Because, I mean, I guess, there's just nothing.
They probably could have thrown in something like, well, I happen to have in my possession an old police box, and I figured, why not build my time machine inside that? But,
yeah, I just...
indeed. Why?
And then there was all the, sort of the slapstick, not really slapstick, but like all those kind of like physical gags with Ian.
Who is
like
absolutely nothing like the real Ian.
Right.
I think a pretty good example of the contrast between the real Ian and the movie version of Ian is the real Ian does this really smart thing where he's going to convince the Thals that they need to fight by demonstrating to, I think it was Aladdin, that there are things worth fighting for. So he sort of takes command and says, we're going to give your girlfriend to the Daleks. Whereas in the movie, it's the Doctor who does this, and he sort of bullies Ian into taking part in it and taking the punch. Like, Ian just takes the punch. That's all he's there to do. Ian's there to take the punch.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That basically sums up the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Ian takes the punch.
Yeah.
And the thing with the door.
Yeah, that was...
Anyhow, would you be willing to watch the other Doctor Who movie? Because I don't think I would.
I don't think I would either.
Yeah, it's an adaptation of the Dalek invasion of Earth, which is, I think that's a better story than the Daleks, at least in my opinion. And, yeah, I don't need to see it given the same treatment. Although Bernard Cribbins.
That's true.
So
maybe we could just fast forward to the bits he's in.
Yeah.
And just go, oh, look, it's Bernard Cribbins. And then turn it off and then just talk about Bernard Cribbins' performance.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe at some point in the future we'll do the same thing for the other Doctor Who movie. I don't know.
Once we've recovered mentally.
Yeah, I'd say that.
It might take a long time to recover.
Could very well. So, I don't know if you know this, Lewis. I don't know if you have the Hollywood inside information that I do. But right now it's what they call pilot season.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, so all of the pilot episodes that may potentially become television series next year, those are all in the process of casting and beginning to film.
Ooh.
So there's a whole lot of news buzzing around the internet about various different TV shows that may exist next year, but may not.
Sweet.
And I have compiled a list of, let's see what I got. I got kind of 16.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're just going to briefly mention them and sort of give generic, maybe 1 or 2 sentence reactions, or a little bit, whatever we feel necessary.
Okay.
And then we'll, if something's particularly uninteresting, just edit it out.
Sounds good.
And keep in mind that it could be that many of these series will not exist.
Yeah. All right. I can keep that in mind.
So, I'm going to go through the major networks in alphabetical order, so I'm going to start with ABC.
Sounds good.
Okay, so on ABC, there's a show in development called Poe, which is a historical cop show, like a crime show, about Edgar Allan Poe solving crimes.
So, what? So is this like Castle, but like set back then?
I guess. I don't know. And, I mean, this isn't just someone's crazy idea. A pilot episode is actually in production.
Wow.
So, yeah, so this has gone to pilot. Whether it will go to series is anyone's guess, but...
It'd be awesome if Nathan Fillion were to play Poe.
I think he's busy playing Castle.
He might be.
Have you heard about
him trying to buy Firefly?
He's not actually doing it.
Well, yeah.
That story's been way blown out of proportion.
Right, people are trying to get him to buy it.
Yeah, because he joked that if he won the lottery, he'd buy the rights and produce it himself.
Yeah. I wish it were true, but
Yeah, I honestly don't think any more Firefly or Serenity is ever happening. But hope is something. Okay, I'm actually going to skip down the list and tell you about a pilot that Sci-Fi has commissioned.
Ooh.
It's called Among the Spirits.
Huh.
It's a historical crime drama about Harry Houdini and Arthur Conan Doyle.
Really?
Solving crimes. Like, they get together. Apparently, they were friends.
What, IRL?
Yeah, IRL. They were friends. Like, they knew each other, so obviously they must have solved crimes together.
Oh, well, of course. That's what friends do.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be kind of interesting if both of those shows are on the air.
Yeah.
This could be the start of a new genre. Like, vampires are a big thing now, but once those are gone, then, like, historical cop dramas about famous actual people.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to ABC, there's a show called Once Upon a Time, which is a dark fairy tale show. That's how it's been described, a dark fairy tale show.
Okay.
It's not a cop drama. It sort of takes characters of fairy tales and sort of makes them into characters as opposed to just sort of figures in these stories. Like, sort of tries to round them out. And it's from Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz.
Those names sound sort of familiar to me.
They were writers on Lost, and they wrote Tron Legacy.
Oh. Well, then I immediately like it.
Yeah, I'm automatically interested in in this show based on that. So,
Yeah. Huh.
it sounds like a kind of strange concept, and it sounds like something that may not end up happening. But
Yeah.
let's hope.
Yeah.
Hope is something.
It is.
So another thing is ABC. Are you aware of the fact that Disney bought Marvel?
Yes.
So, and they also own ABC.
Okay. Yes, right.
So they're trying to develop Marvel related TV shows.
Okay.
And a couple of those are in development. One of them is The Incredible Hulk,
Huh.
which was a TV show back in the day,
Right.
and is going to be a TV show soon. And another is called AKA Jessica Jones. It's based off a comic book called Alias by Brian Michael Bendis, but there was already a show called Alias a couple years ago, so
Right.
they can't use that title.
Huh.
But it's about it's based on that Marvel comic about a failed superhero who now works as a private detective.
Aha.
So a crime show with a twist.
Ain't that something?
I don't know. I think there are too many crime shows.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of patience for crime shows as a genre. Maybe that's just me.
I don't know where I stand on crime shows. I don't like serious crime shows like CSI, but Castle I like because it's at least kind of lighthearted.
Yeah, even that's not enough for me, because it's just the same formulaic plots.
Well, yeah, but it's lighthearted, so that's something.
Yeah, that is something.
Just like Hope.
Yeah. So, on the list, True Lies.
Really?
Yeah, ABC is developing a TV version of True Lies. That's a movie you like, isn't it?
It's a movie I've been. I mean, yeah, I guess.
I've heard you talk about it.
Well, that means I like it.
I think you've spoken about it on this very podcast.
I may have. Yes. Yeah, those are the days. Well, I mean, yeah, sure, I like it.
Apparently, I don't know. I think maybe Eliza Dushku's going to be in it.
Really?
She was in the original movie, wasn't she?
Yes, she was, but she was a lot younger.
Yeah, well, weren't we all?
Yeah, we were.
But I don't know if she's going to be in it. All I know is that she has been talking about it. Well, I mean, I've seen like interviews that say Eliza Dushku discusses upcoming True Lies, and I didn't read the interviews because I don't really care that much. But it might be good. I just figured I'd bring it up because I thought you might want to know.
All right. Well,
Otherwise, it wouldn't have been on the list.
I'm glad you were thinking of me.
Oh, I'm happy you're glad. Well, anyhow, that's ABC. So ABC's got a lot of stuff in the works.
They do.
Couple things on CBS. I don't really watch much stuff on CBS.
I don't. Yeah. Me neither.
It's all crime dramas
And Big Bang Theory.
Well, yeah, and multicam sitcoms. But yeah, so this one is called Person of Interest.
Okay.
It's a J.J. Abrams series.
Ooh.
About a former CIA agent who is now presumed dead, but is fighting crime on his own.
Aha.
And he is financed by a mysterious billionaire played by Michael Emerson.
Sweet.
Michael Emerson of Lost fame.
That's awesome.
Well, honestly, I think it's a little less than awesome.
Really?
Do you remember we discussed Odd Jobs before?
Oh, yeah.
Odd Jobs was an idea for a TV pilot that was come up with by Terry O'Quinn from Lost, and it would star him and Michael Emerson and be produced by J.J. Abrams. But that's not happening, at least not for now. I think the script was turned in really late, so they're pushing it back till next year.
Huh.
But if this CBS show is a success and holds on to Michael Emerson, then I guess they'll have to recast his role in Odd Jobs.
That would not be cool.
Unless it was another Lost alum.
That's true. That would work out.
That would then be cool.
Yes, it would.
Okay, there are a few new shows in development on the CW.
Okay.
But I care almost nothing about shows in development on the CW.
Yeah, same here.
It's very much a teenage girl network.
Yeah.
There's one called Awakening, which is a show about a zombie outbreak, and it focuses on two teenage sisters.
Okay.
And that sounds kind of interesting.
Okay.
I don't know. I hope it's really very much like the CW's programming, but sort of Gossip Girl kind of thing, but with zombies.
That'd be interesting.
That's one I might watch.
I might check it out.
I might watch one episode. So that's all I care about on the CW for now.
That's fair.
Quite a few good things coming up on Fox, though.
Oh, really?
Yes. The one I'm most excited about, in fact, this is probably the most excited I am about any upcoming show, is Alcatraz.
Ooh.
This is a J.J. Abrams show.
Another one?
Oh, he's doing shows all over the place now.
Wow.
He just is unstoppable. But, J.J. Abrams, what he does is he sort of starts a show off and then backs away.
Yeah.
And so this one is actually going to be mostly run by Elizabeth Sarnoff, who's another Lost writer.
Ooh.
This sounds a little bit like an attempt at recapturing what Lost was.
Uh-huh.
It's set in the famed prison Alcatraz.
I figured.
It's about a group of prisoners and guards who mysteriously disappeared from Alcatraz 30 years ago, and they now mysteriously reappear.
Huh.
And it's going to be strange and mysterious and all that.
Interesting.
And it features Jorge Garcia.
Oh, sweet.
He's playing a hippie geek.
What?
He's a geek who is also a hippie, who is also an Alcatraz expert, who I guess is brought in to consult.
Huh. Well, that seems like a role he would be able to fulfill pretty well.
Yeah, even if it's pretty different from Hurley.
Yeah.
And also Sam Neill.
Oh, really?
Yes, Sam Neill is going to be in it as the head of some government agency.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, and there are other cast members who didn't really strike any chords for me, so I didn't write them down.
Okay.
Or type them out, rather. I didn't write any of this down.
It's a digital age.
I didn't get a fountain pen. Then there's Terra Nova.
Okay.
I imagine you've probably heard of this, have you not? Come on, Lewis. Come on. There was a commercial during the Super Bowl.
Oh.
This is the Steven Spielberg show about people in the future who attempt to travel back in time and colonize prehistoric Earth.
Okay.
This is one of those ones that is certain to go to series.
Okay.
And I think they're going to air the pilot in May, and then the series will start in earnest in the fall.
Okay. So this is like Caprica.
Kind of, I guess. Well, with Caprica is, I think, a longer gap than that.
Yeah, I guess so.
This is actually what they did with Glee.
Okay.
And it's on Fox, like Glee is.
Aha.
I don't know if there will be singing.
Well, time travelers trying to colonize a prehistoric Earth, that brings to mind a lot of catchy songs.
A lot of songs have been written about that. Okay, so moving on from Fox to NBC.
Aha.
Which has a number of new shows in the works. I don't know. Do you know anything about the turmoil at NBC?
No.
There's turmoil.
Oh.
Yeah, they're failing as a network pretty hard.
Oh, dear.
And so, as a result of them failing, a lot of shows that would on a better network be in danger of cancellation, like Community, Parks and Recreation, Chuck. A lot of shows like that are not as much in danger of cancellation.
Okay. How does that work?
Well, because the network is doing so badly that they can't afford to get rid of shows that are doing just okay.
Ah.
Whereas a network like CBS, if your show gets 10 million viewers, then you're done.
Huh.
Which on NBC would be surefire renewal for the next 5 years or something. So even though shows like Chuck and Community, which are both shows I happen to like, aren't doing great in the ratings, they're doing well enough that NBC can't afford to lose them for the moment.
Huh, that's cool. And convenient.
Yeah. But anyhow, let's hear about some new shows that are going to come in and do great and fix NBC and make them cancel shows I like.
All right.
The NBC's making a Wonder Woman show.
Really?
I can't see it doing well, though. It's being written by a writer called David E. Kelly.
Okay.
Who is wacky.
Wacky.
He writes, like, wacky shows.
Wacky shows.
I guess you'd say, like, he wrote, like, Boston Legal.
Okay.
Which is a somewhat wacky legal show. Like, the script for this version of Wonder Woman, the pilot has leaked, and the internet hates it.
Oh.
It involves her seeing her ex-boyfriend and then crying in her pajamas and eating ice cream.
What?
And it also involves the first time you see her in her Wonder Woman costume fighting crime. Single Ladies is playing. It's so horrible and, like, on the nose. And she's, like, a powerful executive, too.
Okay. What?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's not going to do well.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm secretly hoping, like, all of these NBC shows will fail.
That would be nice.
Yes. Anyhow, NBC is also coming up with this show called Grimm.
Okay.
Grimm.
Okay.
Which is a fairy tale themed show. It's a cop investigating crimes in a fairy tale world.
Aha.
And it's created by David Greenwalt, who is a writer from Buffy and Angel.
Oh.
Anyhow, this is a new show that is kind of interesting to me. 17th Precinct. It's Ron Moore.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it has been described as, quote unquote, Harry Potter for grown-ups.
Okay. Well, that's kind of weird.
It's a fantasy police drama.
Huh.
In a world where magic works and science doesn't. That's how I've heard it explained. I don't know if, like, science will fail. Like, any attempt to systematically investigate reality is doomed to failure. I don't know if that's what's meant.
I mean, I've always imagined, magic and science could coexist peacefully, but I guess if you want to just eliminate one in favor of the other, yeah, sure.
It could just be that the person writing press releases is an idiot.
It's possible.
And maybe it's just like, it's a world that has magic in lieu of technology.
Okay.
Sort of like the world of Harry Potter.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so Jamie Bamber is in it. I can't wait to see him be intense and humorless and take his shirt off a lot.
Well, he is good at that, so
Yep.
it'll do well based upon how many times he takes his shirt off.
NBC is also creating a show called REM.
Okay.
Or maybe it's just supposed to be pronounced REM.
REM.
They describe it as an Inception-style thriller.
I kind of imagined, as soon as you said that it was going to have, that somehow it was going to be described as, like, Inception for television.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's actually accurate or if it's the same idiot writing. Like, if NBC just has this one idiot who's writing stupid press releases.
That could very well be.
But anyhow, it's about this detective who, as a result, it's another crime drama with a twist. It's a detective who is living in two realities.
Okay.
As a result of some accident. I don't know if we're supposed to understand one is a dream reality or something, but in any case, he solves cases in both realities which make use of clues from one another.
Well, that's kind of interesting.
I think it is. Last thing on my list, Lewis.
Okay.
HBO's Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
I feel like I have.
Well, you're about to hear more of it.
Sweet.
It's a fantasy series by George R.R. Martin. It's a book thing with words on pages. Or on your Kindle.
Awesome.
And HBO is adapting it. That's it.
Okay.
I think it's kind of like a Lord of the Rings style in its, like, scale and in the kind of production design.
Okay. That's interesting.
But, like, not a lot of magic or anything.
Huh. Interesting. HBO does good stuff, don't they?
Depends on what you really like.
If you like good things, then they make those.
Exactly. Well, I mean, there was a time when they sort of had the crown in terms of high-quality television drama.
Drama.
The Sopranos, The Wire, things like that. And now AMC has sort of stolen that from them.
Damn them, AMC.
Well, AMC's quite good.
Yeah, actually, when's The Walking Dead Season 2, when's that happening?
October 2011, it looks like.
Oh, okay. So that's 8 months or so.
The fall season.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, that's the list of shows that are of any interest to me, at least.
Yeah, that sounds pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Assuming that some of the better ones end up making it to series, like, I think sounds like a pretty good year.
Yeah.
I don't think this year was a very good year.
Not really.
I can't think of any new shows that really stuck with me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I started watching, what do you call it?
Undercovers?
Yeah, that one. I started watching that one and I liked it, but then I kind of stopped watching it. And then it got canceled or whatever.
Yeah, I remember we were sort of talking about some of the newer shows, and I mean, The Walking Dead, I guess that's the one that sort of stuck with me.
Yeah.
Then Terriers got canceled, so that doesn't count. No Ordinary Family, I never even actually watched.
You know, my DVR is still set to record that show, and I have not yet watched a single episode. Maybe I never will.
Maybe.
Yeah, I remember the event. That was just... I just didn't like that at all.
And that's starting to be canceled, I think.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, the ratings started really high and fell really fast, almost exactly like Flash Forward, which I think was a much better show.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of liked Flash Forward.
There were things about Flash Forward that I definitely did like. Almost nothing about the event.
Yeah, that didn't really hold my interest at all. I'm trying to think of what else we talked about. Oh, you know, there was... You know, I kept on meaning to watch The Cape.
Yeah, I never watched a single episode of that either.
Huh.
I heard bad things about it.
Huh.
And the ratings have not been very good, so it's another show that's very likely to be canceled.
Huh. Because that's probably the show that I had the most hopes for. Actually, no, I guess Undercovers was probably the show I had the most hopes for. But I really liked the trailer for The Cape.
Yeah. It ended up being like a very, from what I understand, like a very humorless, took itself way too seriously.
Oh.
And it was kind of ridiculous.
Oh.
So.
It's never a good mix.
Never is.
It's a dangerous mix.
Sure. It's a wintry mix. I think we're done.
I think so, too.
So I think we need to say the whole ending thing.
Yeah, that ending thing.
Okay, Cloister Room. It's over. Lewis, what's our Twitter?
That would be at the Cloister Room.
Lewis, what's your Twitter?
At Mila's Belly.
And Lewis, what's my Twitter?
At T. Dickinson.
What's the website where you can go to comment on the show?
thecloisterroom.com.
Is this episode done?
Yes.
I'm Tom Dickinson.
I'm Lewis Midas.
Goodbye.
And we didn't actually mention the email, but oh well.
Crud. What's the email, Lewis?
thecloisterroom@gmail.com.
Are you sure we didn't do that?
I am absolutely positive.
Yeah, it's done now. Goodbye.
Goodbye.